tyre is good. So yeah, tyre's looking good this morning. I don't know why, it's been there all weekend. It's Monday, and it hasn't need pumping up, and it doesn't need pumping up now. So like I say, my back tyre is like a box of chocolates. You just do not know what you are going to get. So yeah, it's Monday today, and we are in for Jasper, the Emperor. If you are regular to this channel, you will know who he is. He's my old master, the reason I am a plasterer, the guy who taught me. He was the guy that took me in on my first job when I was 13 years old. And yeah, I was still working for him round, well, yeah, I've just known him all my life since then, basically. I've done a few things in between, but yeah, he's the guy that made me a plasterer. And I call him the Emperor from Star Wars because that's exactly what he's like when he destroys young apprentices and stuff. He suckers them in but gives them all these lovely ideas of what it might be like to be a plasterer, and then he kills them. Anyway, I haven't been killed. I'm all right. I managed to make it through the arduous training, and I am going in with him today. And I'm a little bit perplexed as he messaged me and said, don't get into work till 9 o'clock. And I was like, what, have you been like abducted by aliens? Have you been probed? When, I don't think that has ever happened. Get to work for 9 o'clock. It's normally 6 a.m. or something, but as you can see, we're outside rendering and it's raining today, so that will be why. And I did message him, and apparently he's making somebody else go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, so he's there with them for a couple of hours, and then we're going on to this rendering job, which I haven't seen. I've got a little picture of where it is. So yeah, okay, rambling on in the morning. Maybe it's just because it's a bit of a late start. What's the time? It's like just coming up to 8 o'clock. So, and the job's really local. So yeah, I'm going to go and get a coffee and mosey on up to Jasper's job at 9 o'clock in the morning. Very surreal. Right, see you then. Okay, go on then. What are we doing today?
We've got to scratch all this block work. We've already scratched the side.
What, are we doing it in just regular sand and cement?
Yes, we are.
No flashy, newfangled OCRs or anything?
No.
What sort of sand are we using?
We're using a mixture of a bit of sharp, rendering sand, and some building sand for the top coat.
You're not putting enough, you're just putting sharp in the scratch?
Putting sharp in the scratch coat.
Okay.
We're not going over it in one day.
Yeah, sure. Okay, looks pretty straightforward.
We've got a couple of windows.
You do like to pick your days though, don't you?
Because we've got the big job starting next Monday, and all the rendering has to be finished by then.
Okay. Okay, first things first, we have to set up a scaffold.
Got acid as well.
So run some pea shingle in there. I ran out of dirt. Okay, so we've got the wheels, uneven ground. I am. I've recorded it already. Who did it? Who left it dirty?
Robert McDonough.
So we've got uneven ground here, but we've got the wheels and we've adjusted the wheels.
Unbelievable. You led someone here.
Yeah. Come on, let's have a good look at it then. Come on,
What a mess. Seriously, that's just bad form.
Yeah, quite a nice little tranquil area in Bagshot. Just off the beaten track. And there's Jasper hammering the life out of his mixer. So I probably forgot to mention, because I didn't know until I just got here, and just asked the question actually, why are we doing it in real sand and cement? And it is because it's going to be pebble dashed. Well, first instance, that original looked like it was a wet dash, but I think it's so old and so painted, that's what it looks like. So here's a section that's obviously already been done, and I've got to admit, texture is looking very similar, matching the original, which I assume will be painted as well.
Oh, it's only come off. It's not as if they... It's a new belt, isn't it?
They didn't have the technology to get in there.
Where is that? What's happening there?
So apparently, as the story unfolds, the reason it was left dirty is because they thought the belt had snapped, although they hadn't inspected it obviously, so they couldn't wash it out. But it's only just come off. You've probably got what happened? Did this move?
Yeah, there's a.
It's probably like a C-clip or something. It should be on the back of that.
Oh, there's a something.
Well, otherwise it'll go again, won't it?
Yeah.
So when we do actually come to mix up our sand and cement, I don't think we're going to need much water in the sand. Right, let's have a look at some technicalities here. P-shingle, which is what goes over the top when you're finished. Here we have the soft sand. Look, if you have a look at it, there's hardly any big granules in there, and it tends to have clay in it, and it's what brickies use to stick bricks together with. Here we have rendering sand. So it's slightly different in colour, depends where you come from. But if you see, it's got some larger shards in it, and it will tend to be washed. It won't have any clay in it. There we go, look, it's got these.
I'm sure that's Westrum.
Westrum, okay.
Yeah, I get this building sand. One of the best quality ones.
So, rendering sand, soft sand. Okay. Over here, we got sharp sand. It tends to go in floors and stuff, and you can see it's a lot more coarser with a lot more shards in it. So it is quite important to get your sands correct. So I believe what we are using, what we're using for the scratch coat, a bit of sharp and a bit of rendering.
Yeah, a bit sharp, a bit of rendering.
Okay, so for the scratch coat, we're going to give it a lot of strength with the sharp and the rendering, and it's going to have much more strength than the soft sand because of all those big shards and stuff in it. And then I assume the soft sand and then the rendering sand for the top coat, because we need that to be kind of pliable. So let's have a look, just in case you don't know. So look, this area has been scratched already. Okay, so we put these grooves in there. What happens is another coat goes over the top of that, then you throw your stones into that. So that's why for the last coat we put a little bit of soft sand in there, just to, so it, you know, the stones really get in there and stick. If you try to do that with sharp sand, because of all those shards in there, a lot of those stones will just bounce off. It's just not so workable, you know. With the soft sand, it makes it a lot more sticky and allows the stones to really get in there and embed into the coat of sand and cement. Here's a good little tip for you. Look, these windows do need taping up, and we might as well do it now, sooner rather than later. I mean, the sand and cement's probably not so bad, but when we start throwing stones, obviously we don't want to be hitting these wooden windows and the glass and these wooden frames, which have got a finish on them already. They're not to be painted or anything, so we don't want to be throwing pea shingle all up and down them when it comes to doing the actual reveals of the window. But even though this needs taping up, it's a good idea to get your beads up before you tape up, because it's very hard to get, you know, a real straight line with your tape and stuff. So if it's all taped up and then you try and put your beads up, if any of the beads are out in any way, it's much more difficult to notice it because of all the tape all over the windows. So this is one thing I do like to do, is get the beads up, make sure it all lines up with the frame nicely, and then you can tape them up. So this mixer has had to go to Mixer Hospital. It's the problem with this, look, he's put some glue on it and a zip tie in an effort to try and keep this cog still and not flapping around and causing it to come off this cog down here. But in the meantime, Jasper has given us the luxury of this other mixer. Look at that. Okay, looks like we're almost in a position to start mixing up some sand and cement. Okay, so this is the stuff we're putting in there. Integral waterproofer. It does everything. It's not how I remember integral waterproofer. I mean, you've got to be tempted not to drink that. It's very much like strawberry milkshake. But yeah, it used to be like hand soap. I used to find the old integral waterproofer, but I don't know. 100 millilitres of this into every gauge that goes in the mixer. And in it goes. Cement on the sand, cut it in half with a saw. So we've got 4 render sander now, a little bit of water, just keep an eye on it because this sand's soaking wet. Then I'm going to pick up and put a whole half a bag of cement in there right now. There we go. Now I'm just going to add more sand, more rendering sand, a little bit of sharp, maybe a couple of shovelfuls, and maybe a shovelful of soft in there as well. And keep topping up with water as well. And at the end we're going to put a little bit more cement in. But yeah, depending on, because this sand is soaking wet, we're not really needing much water at all, so we've just got to keep our eye on it. Okay, so we're still looking quite stiff in there. We need to add a little bit more water in there, and that's going to make it come out and hit this lip, so you know, be careful not to overfill it. Now I've already put half a bag in, now I'm going to put half of this half a bag in, so it's literally filling up the cement mixer with sand and then putting 3/4 of a bag of cement in there with it. So that that half of a bag just went in there and it's stiffened up. And all we're going to do now is just add water. Doing things with one hand. Just a little bit of time, just to loosen it up. To get the consistency that we want. And don't let it splash in your face. Oh, the fun. So we're virtually there at the consistency that we want. You see it's rolling quite nicely, it's not tearing, it's not as stiff as Bricky's muck. There we go then, there's the consistency. It looks like it'll be nice to use. Okay, it's spreading quite nicely, even though it's got that sharp sand in it, can make it a little bit difficult, but I think with that plasticizer and the rendering sand and a little shovelful of that soft sand is really helping it out, and we can get it quite flat quite soon. Look at this. So you can see we've got a decent amount on, and we've got the scratchers going on. This is a scratcher. Trick is to hold it flat, don't let the gear go too much, and I like to put that little wiggle in there as well. You want a fair bit of depth there because the next coat needs to go into here and hold on, okay? It's no good just putting these little ones in there. You need a bit of depth. That's why quite often it's better to get back on it and get in there sooner rather than later. This scratcher could probably do with a clean, to be honest with you. But yeah, hold it flat, like so, not like this. Yeah, look, here's a great example. Look, when it's wet and you hold it flat, it kind of creates these little shelves. That's the desired effect. So, you know, they've got a bit of a diamond shape so the gear can get in there and hold on. There we go, the front's all on and the sun's coming out, and beautiful day for a bit of rendering. Those thermalites are pulling it in already. So just while we're here, look at these beads, they look like they're 15mm. So here's a little line that you come to, probably for the scratch coat, or at least that is where we're coming to, see? Into that line, so you can regulate the depth there. So we're coming to this line here, this first one, and then tomorrow we're going to fill it up to the actual edge of the bead with the top coat and throw stones in it. Okay, we're saying the cement being as heavy as it is, I'm laying on with a 13, and the 20x5 is getting some action today, and since we're using it just as a rule, just on the scratch coat, Try and keep things nice and flat and regulated. Hours. Some heavy rain just came down. Jasper's shaking his head in disbelief as me and Darius have just jumped in our vans to get out of it. Looks like it's only going to be a short shower. Darius is Polish, and I used to work with him quite a bit actually back in the day, and I did try to learn some Polish, and that heavy rain came back and it sprung a little memory. Dużą deszcz is heavy rain, I believe, in Polish. And badawki, I think, is nipple. So dużą deszcz means heavy rain. And I think if you put bardzo on the front of it, bardzo dużą deszcz, I believe that means very heavy rain. Kind of translates very strong rain. What he's done to this mixer now. Tony's put some brick acid in there. Okay, I'm inside the property, and that cat, and also that cat, have not moved all day long. Right, we've got to fill this gap up, and they want it flush out here, and we've got some insulation board to do it with. So here is our insulation plasterboard, and the best thing you can do with this is saw it. So this insulation board does have paper on the back, which means you can use dot and dab bonding compound to stick it to the wall, but I'm pretty sure it's recommended that you get some hard fixings through there as well. Quite often they're the plastic washers. Also, if you are dot and dabbing this stuff, look at the bend that's got in it, where it's been stored, okay? Trying to get the bend out of something like this is ridiculously difficult. It's not going to happen really. It's in there. So what we're probably going to do, because we've got a couple of sheets, is with the dot and dab, let me just show you what the dot and dab is. Drywall adhesive by Gyprock in this case. Natural pink. Oh, and I do like a bit of natural pink with aloe vera in it. It's lovely. So what we're probably going to do, because they want it to come out flush with this now, they don't want to recess, so we'll probably get this on quite tight, leave a bit of a gap, and then we'll dot and dab a regular piece of plasterboard over the top and get it flush with these edges. And being a thinner piece of plasterboard, you should be able to manipulate it so that it actually gets in there flat. I'll probably dot and dab this on tonight. This sheet does look pretty good already, but you're better off leaning them up against the wall like this is what warps them. These warp anyway, even on the pallet, because when they're stacked high. So storing something like this, you're better off laying them flat on the floor if you can, or on a couple of pallets if you need to lift them up. So I did think of this as I was carrying this through. It fits quite nicely at the top, but look at the old way that the skirting went. That's stopping that from going in. It's a bummer, isn't it? So I'm going to have to trim them out. That's approximately that much off. Okay, so that fits much better. And you can actually see the curve in this now. I'm trying to get that, see, just with dot and dab by itself. I mean, the curve in it. You're supposed to do anything with that. Okay, right, let's knock up some sticky stuff and get it up there. That cat over there did get up, look at me, and disappear with all the noise. That cat has not moved an inch. I think we might have to get a mirror out the car and see if the thing is actually alive. There we go. Quite sticky. And we don't need too much just for that little doorway. Bucket. stuff, wall, stuff on the wall. Just in case you missed it. Stuff, wall, stuff on the wall.
Send me that video.
Pouring out the corner. Okay, stuff all over the wall. And I've knocked it up actually in one of Jasper's water buckets. I'm going to show it to him in a minute for my own amusement. Okay, again, you can see the bend on it and you're never going to get that out. It's in there, pushed up nice and tight. And as I say, we're probably going to dot and dab another sheet to fill up this gap here. And I'll probably throw some dot and dabs down so it hits this edge and comes across here. So this is never going to go anywhere. Okay, here's a little trick for you. Stanley knife, cutting this bit of board. Obviously I've scored the other side. I've got the crack going, but it's quite difficult to cut a length off this way. So if we just start here, just a little bit away, run our blade all the way through, like so. Oh yeah, still doing this with one hand. See if I can do it with one hand. So that last little bit, I can't get it, should. Oh yeah, yeah. Just pop off. Just in case you've never seen plasterboard being cut before. There's a little mark down the bottom, a little mark there. Hold your little level on the mark, and I'm going to have to put you down because I can't do it. I'll do that. I'll do that. Oh. Look at that angle. Oh God. So we just get our Stanley, round it down. Then that should pop nicely. There we go. And then just on the reverse side, and you're standing up. And Bob's your uncle. Jasper, did you use this red bucket just for water there? So as before, stuff on the wall, and take note, I have gone into these edges like so, so there's no way that board's coming out of there, is there? No way. There we go. Nice and flush. It is filled up. Okay, so we got out the van at 9. To my amazement, that's when Jasper wanted us here because of the rain, and it did rain right up till 9 o'clock. The time is 3:30 and we have accomplished getting this scratched. That plinth has been put on. Obviously all this gable end has been scratched. We had to set up the scaffolds, and also all this has been scratched around here, all up this gable end, and then all this around here. So yeah, a bit of awkward stuff here. Also that top, that's not being dashed apparently, that's just going to be it's going to be flat. Also with the reveals, these are being left flat, they're not being dashed either, so I've just found out. So there you go guys, that's what happened today amongst the rain, and we got it all scratched. Tomorrow we are coming and we are going to put the pebble dash on top of it, throw it on the wall and dash it. Thanks for watching this video, thanks for getting to the end of it. If you do like the channel, if it's your first time, then please subscribe. We have lots of stuff now up on the playlist, Plaster Master Smurf 74. There's also a Facebook group, which is free to join. Come over there. There's lots of little snippets and other plasterers on there if you want some advice about anything or anything like that. Okay, so yeah, great. see you on the next video, which I will no doubt record tomorrow. Because I'm sure there will be lots of exciting plastering action happening. All right, take it easy. Bye bye.